The first thing I did after being reborn as the Snow Wolf King was to go around collecting baby formula and diapers, simply because I adopted a pair of human baby girls. But what I didn't expect was, these two baby girls were actually reincarnations of empresses. In their past lives, the two of them fought for 3 days and 3 nights, finally perishing together. I never thought they would be reborn as twin sisters at the same time, and even be abandoned in the forest, just as they thought they were about to be devoured by a pack of beasts. A Snow Wolf King appeared before them. As for me, 3 months ago, I transmigrated into this world of spiritual key recovery, and turned into a Snow Wolf, awakening the trait Plunder system. Through constant hunting, I became the sole Wolf King of this forest. Just today, while I was out hunting, the cries of 2 infants caught my attention. Following the direction of the sound, I saw 2 human baby girls. The red-haired baby on the left, Ji Yingying, currently had her hands on her hips, pouting her lips, glaring at Ji Qingyan with the pale blonde hair on the right. Ji Qingyan glared back, refusing to be outdone, making yi-yi-ya-ya sounds from her mouth. I, the great demon monarch who once commanded the wind and rain, I'm actually being bullied by you like this today? Right at that moment, the 2 of them simultaneously spotted a pair of icy blue beast eyes. Forgetting their past grievances, the 2 instantly clung to each other. Their cries rang out at the same time. The 2 empresses were now completely panicked. Are we really going to die just after being reborn? However, after a moment, this Wolf King did not attack them. So the 2 of them opened their eyes, revealing looks of confusion. As I looked at the 2 crying baby girls, I frowned. Although I was reborn as a wolf, my soul was still human. After thinking for a moment, I sighed. You 2 poor little things. From now on, you'll come with me. So I opened my fangs and bit onto their swaddling clothes. The 2 little ones, looking at the sharp canine teeth inches away. Ji Yingying's heart pounded wildly. In her heart, she was screaming frantically. I'm really going to die. The demon monarch Ji Qingyan also swallowed nervously. When the saliva from my teeth dripped onto the swaddle, Ji Qingyan's face instantly turned ashen. I have just been reborn. Could it be that I'm destined to become food for this wolf? However, the shaking of the swaddle suddenly stopped. The 2 little ones looked up at the same time. And when they did, with just one glance, they locked eyes with my deep, icy blue gaze. Ji Yingying was so scared she held her breath. Ji Qingyan's body trembled slightly. I froze, and a hint of panic rose in my heart. If I let these 2 little ones freeze, wouldn't I be harming them? Immediately, I let out a long howl. Upon hearing the king's call in the forest, 5 or 6 snow wolves came before me, then surrounded me, moving forward slowly. With them blocking the cold wind, the swaddle instantly felt a bit warmer. But Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan were still immersed in shock. Before long, the 2 of them began communicating in English. Think of something fast. I don't want to end up in a wolf's belly. Be quiet. If this beast goes crazy, we're really finished. Just like that, I carried the 2 little ones across half the forest, finally returning to the Snow Wolf Pack's territory. When the king's aura permeated the Snow Wolf camp, all dozen or so snow wolves in the territory cast their gazes toward us. Long wolf howls echoed through the heart of the forest. The pack of snow wolves was using the etiquette of the Wolf clan to welcome the king's return. Woken up by the sound of the howling, the 2 little ones both opened their sleepy eyes. Their eyes were still misty, perhaps because the temperature in the swaddle was just right. Ji Yingying couldn't help but stretch after waking up, only to freeze the moment she opened her eyes. She was met with my massive, terrifying wolf head. Ji Qingyan also saw the many snow wolves bowing down to me. A royal lineage beast. She was instantly shocked. Are you kidding me? Spiritual Qi hasn't even officially recovered yet, and an elite-level royal lineage beast already exists. Ji Yingying suddenly realized something. We're doomed. We really are prey. Ji Qingyan's face turned pale instantly. Help! I don't want to be eaten. A few minutes later, I brought Ji Yingying and the other girl into the cave where I lived. A scent mixed with pine resin and animal hides wafted toward them. Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan were both shocked by the scene before them. log walls, animal hides covering the floor. You call this a wolf den? Something is wrong. Extremely wrong. Those beast pelts on the ground were clearly my handiwork. My strength had faintly exceeded their expectations. However, this place didn't look like a place to keep prey. It looked more like the Wolf King's lair. What does this mean? Ji Yingying glanced sideways, falling into deep thought, recalling the many details from before. Ji Yingying keenly realized something was off. The Snow Wolf King before them didn't seem to have any ill will toward them. Before she could think further, Jiu Qing'an beside her noticed this as well. Do you think it's possible that this Wolf King doesn't plan to eat us?
Hearing this,
Ji Yingying nodded silently. Right now, the two of them weren't even enough to fill the gaps in the Wolf King's teeth. If he really wanted to eat them, he would have swallowed them long ago. But even though Ji Yingying was well-traveled and knowledgeable, she never could have imagined that I simply wanted to adopt them. Just then, I let out a low howl outside the cave. Soon, two plump snow wolf mothers, still emitting a faint scent of milk, walked into the wolf den. Compared to the male wolves, the fur on the female snow wolves was fluffier, and they looked a bit less fierce. At this moment, Jiu Qing'an was stunned. Is he going to feed us? Ji Yingying was also dumbfounded. This Snow Wolf King, who went through all the trouble to bring them back, actually intended to raise them. Aside from the shock, Ji Yingying's face couldn't help but flush with an awkward blush. You actually want me to drink wolf milk? Yingying very proudly turned her head away. In her heart, she was being unyielding until death. But in my eyes, it just looked like the two little ones were dazed. So cute. But why aren't these two little ones nursing? While lost in thought, I suddenly understood. Have I been a wolf king for too long? Human babies aren't like wolf cubs. If I don't take the initiative to feed them, how would these little ones know to eat? With an order, the two female wolves immediately moved to the left and right, and lay down in front of Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an. A sense of unexplainable absurdity instantly filled Ji Yingying's heart. There was no mistake about it. A wolf king really wanted to adopt her. I, Ji Yingying, a human empress. I can't believe I was adopted by a wolf king today, HMP. I, Ji Yingying, am the reincarnation of the empress. Even if I die outside, there's no way I'm drinking wolf's milk. It's not just her. Jiu Qing'an beside her is equally shocked. Compared to Ji Yingying,
he's known as the unruly demon lord of the human race.
In his previous life, elite wolf kings like this, he could wipe out tens of thousands of them with just a single breath. To make him acknowledge a wolf as his father. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. And the two little ones with their die-hard expressions. Of course, I saw it all as them being cute. I'm not in a hurry. Instead, I withdrew my claws. Using only my paw, I gently nudged the two little ones towards the she-wolf. Ji Yingying watched this scene. The look in their eyes was nearly humiliation. But my fierce wolf hand was staring at them. That was clearly an unmistakable threat. As if they refused to drink the milk, they'd be swallowed up the very next second. Finally, Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an gave in. Especially when they smelled that sweet and fishy scent so close. Drinking milk isn't that embarrassing. Ji Yingying consoled herself this way. Jiu Qing'an, on the other hand, closed his eyes, outwardly submitting, but inwardly completely resentful. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river. Never looked down on a struggling infant. At this moment, the two steeled their hearts and crawled onto the two she-wolves curling up. The instant the wolf's milk hit their throats, the two little ones, hungry for a long time, looked up. Their eyes shone bright. So delicious. Watching the two little ones obediently drink the wolf's milk, I also breathed a sigh of relief. Although human babies of this age have usually weaned, but I have nowhere to find formula. These two little ones can't eat meat. To keep them alive, I can only rely on the milk of the she-wolves. Thankfully, the little ones actually seemed to enjoy drinking milk. Meanwhile, the two empresses were feasting, and both their eyes grew wide in shock. Did you feel it? Ji Yingying spoke first. Jiu Qing'an also looked over. There seems to be a trace of spiritual energy in the milk, in their memories. The revival of spiritual energy is still at least a month away. At least a month. But these she-wolves of the Snowwolf pack actually have spiritual power in their milk. The amount is low, but as two domain-level human experts, Ji Yingying and Ji Yuqingyan both understood. This means that the snow wolves in front of them, while spiritual energy hasn't fully revived, they've already seized the initiative. Ji Yingying can't help but mutter to herself. No wonder that Snowwolf King is already an elite-level monster. Who knows what opportunity it had. At this point, the two women understood. This Snowwolf pack is anything but ordinary. I looked at the two little ones, full and content, then glanced at the two she-wolves, deeply resentful. My expression turned strange. How long has it been since these little ones had milk? They actually drained the milk from two snow she-wolves dry. Thankfully, my wolf pack isn't big. But there are 9 she-wolves, and the little ones have quite the appetite, but still manageable. Xingxing's eyes showed a similar expression. Although humans and monsters are different, but this Wolf King is the same age as us. Ji Yuqingyan spoke, extremely satisfied. Once I recover my power. He paused before finishing. Ji Yuqingyan suddenly burped from the milk. His little face instantly flushed red. For the sake of this wolf's milk, once I recover, I'll begrudgingly take him as my mount. As a mount? Ji Yingying couldn't help but roll her eyes at Ji Yuqingyan. In his mind, he has already accepted me as the Wolf King Milk Dad. Ji Yingying's gaze was noticed by Ji Yuqingyan too. When have I ever suffered such humiliation? As soon as the words left his mouth, Ji Yuqingyan couldn't help but burp again. Even he was about to lose composure. His face flushed red all over. Ji Yuqingyan avoided Ji Yingying's slightly scornful and teasing gaze. He couldn't help but mumble to himself. Fine, I admit this guy is my milk dad, okay? The two instinctively spoke encrypted English. In my ears, it sounded like absolute gibberish. I couldn't understand it at all, but I did notice Ji Yuqingyan's flushed face. Was the little one choking? Thinking that, for once, I actually panicked a bit. I moved instantly. First withdrawing all my claws. Then I scooped him up in one paw. The other paw gently patted Ji Yuqingyan's back, trying to help him feel better. In that split second, Ji Yuqingyan's eyes accidentally met mine. Our pupils instantly locked. What kind of eyes were those? Deep as the stars, blue as jewels, obviously beast eyes, but it somehow made Ji Yuqingyan feel genuine concern. Is the Wolf King actually helping me? Does he care about me? Ji Yuqingyan's heart tightened. In his past life as a domain-level powerhouse, he had never experienced such care. Clearly facing a snow wolf monster infamous for being cunning and ferocious. Yet from him he felt a warmth he'd never experienced before. Ji Yingying was equally stunned. She actually felt worry, unease, confusion, and relief, all at once in the eyes of a monster. This kind of care they were experiencing now was a completely novel feeling. Ji Yuqingyan stared blankly into my icy blue eyes. The tension in his heart faded, and he drifted off to sleep. He even started mumbling in his sleep. I've decided, from now on, you're officially my milk dad. Inside the Wolf King's den, I watched the two finally fall asleep and let out a long sigh of relief. At last, the little one's food problem is solved. But the other problems are coming one after another. I furrowed my brows, already worried about these two daughters' lodging. After all, the weather is getting colder. If I ignore it, they wouldn't survive a single night. But out here in the wild, besides trees, there's really nothing else to use. A thought suddenly struck me. I suddenly remembered something. So I gently left the cave, showing up in front of countless snow wolf monsters. With a gentle howl, I made my undeniable order clear. From now on, all monsters in the wolf pack must treat those two baby girls as clan members. After that, I summoned over a dozen snow wolves, bringing them all before me. My target was the giant tree in the center of the valley. That tree has already been growing in this world for hundreds of years. And just as spiritual energy is reviving, now its diameter has exceeded 10 meters. What I need to do is carve out a hollow in the trunk of the tree, using the thick trunk of this giant tree to block out the cold, and make a warm home for the two little ones. With a single command, a few wolves from the pack immediately stepped forward and began wildly clawing at the tree trunk. In no time, they had dug out an opening. But that was nowhere near enough work. So I envisioned a new group of wolves, taking over the task for a while. A chorus of howls echoed through the Wolf pack. Inside the Wolf King's den, Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan opened their eyes at the same time. Now, they had been adopted by the Snow Wolf King. But where did Wolf Dad go? At that moment, Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan heard commotion outside. They quickly crawled onto the swaddling clothes and looked toward the cave entrance. What are they doing? Empress Ji Yingying was stunned. She really couldn't figure out why that pack of snow wolves was going crazy over a tree. It didn't really look like madness, but rather like an attack. Ji Qingyan narrowed his eyes as well. Something is really off. More than just off, something is way off. What is Wolf Dad trying to do? Suddenly, a guess flashed across Ji Qingyan's eyes. Could it be that Wolf Dad wanted the pack to fell the tree? Ji Yingying shook her head. The two little ones stared at each other, wide-eyed, completely baffled. Ji Qingyan finally understood. Wolf Dad is hollowing out the tree trunk. But I've never heard of snow wolves having such habits. Ji Yingying was stunned as well. Under their shocked stares, I stopped the other wolves and dove straight into the hollow in the tree. Compared to ordinary snow wolves, my strength was clearly much greater, especially with my claws that could slice through iron like clay. Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan's jaws dropped in shock. Wolf Dad is hollowing out the tree, they said in unison. Strange things happen every year, but there are especially many this year. It was one thing for the Snow Wolf King to adopt them, but now he's even handcrafting things. A sense of absurdity flooded Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan's hearts. What do you think? Only one thought remained in Ji Qingyan's mind. The Snow Wolf King has become a spirit, hasn't he? Not the kind of monster awakened by spiritual energy, but the mythical kind from ancient legends. He's awakened human-level intelligence. Ji Yingying didn't dare imagine, after spiritual energy recovers, how powerful this Snow Wolf King might become. But fortunately, in their memories from their previous lives, there was absolutely no sign of the Snow Wolf King. At that moment, something came to Ji Yingying. Did Wolf Dad face some kind of accident later on? For some reason, Jingying suddenly felt a sharp pain in her heart. I've made up my mind. Wolf King, don't worry. When spiritual energy recovers, I'll make sure you stay safe for a lifetime. As soon as Ji Yingying finished her brave declaration, her stomach let out an untimely growl. Ji Yingying would never admit she was hungry. I swung my wolf claw from top to bottom, and finally stopped after smoothing a section of the wall. Then the rest of the snow wolves poured into the treehouse, and cleaned up all the debris on the ground. When I bared my fangs again, and gently carried the two baby girls into the treehouse, seeing the carved-out steps and the smooth inner surface of the treehouse, Ji Yingying's eyes widened. I get it now. Wolf Dad built us a house. Ji Yingying was overwhelmed with shock. But it wasn't the treehouse in front of her that shocked her. It was the Snow Wolf King's incredible intelligence. What surprised Ji Qingyan was the craftsmanship of the treehouse. Hollowing out a tree might be normal, but for Wolf King to carve it so perfectly, even creating a high platform for them to sleep on, and steps to walk on, this is more than just intelligence. It's skilled craftsmanship, so Wolf Dad even knows woodworking. Am I seeing this right? And that's not all. As Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan watched in shock, the rest of the snow wolves quickly swarmed into the Wolf King's den, removed the hides of the other beasts on the ground, and laid them out in the newly built tree house. Not only that, even the original wooden palisades from the old den were taken down and placed around the giant tree, making it look like a fenced-in yard. This was how I set boundaries for the other wolves. Although I have complete control over the pack, I still wouldn't risk the safety of these two little ones. All necessary safeguards had to be in place. And at last, the most important step. I placed the two little ones on a specially crafted bed, then took a piece of red fox pelt in my mouth and walked out of the treehouse, and nailed that red fox pelt right to the door. A primitive, simple animal skin door was complete. Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan twitched their lips at the same time.
If
they still had any doubt or other guesses before, now all those suspicions had vanished. This treehouse was definitely the work of Wolf King. Wolf King is really something. Jiyu King murmured in amazement, his gaze filled with thoughtful reflection. Ji Yingying silently nodded beside him. As an empress, Ji Yingying had encountered countless powerful monsters in her life, but had never seen a beast like Wolf King. He had never even heard of such a thing. Why is this? Ji Yingying fell into deep thought, but Ji Yu Qing'an didn't think that much. For someone obsessed with martial arts like him, what mattered most at that moment was Wolf King's precise control over his strength. It's hard to imagine. Though Wolf King is only a top-level monster, what kind of monster are you really, Wolf King? The two met eyes in silence. At this moment, I walked in from outside the treehouse. To ensure warmth, I didn't put a window in the treehouse, but because of that, the interior was a bit too dark, so I rolled up the red fox pelt and let sunlight stream into the treehouse. Ji Yingying and Jiyu Qing'an didn't understand what I was doing, but soon began to enjoy the rare afternoon sunlight. After a dozen minutes or so, noise rose again outside the treehouse. Ji Yingying lay in her swaddling clothes and looked outside, and this glance nearly knocked her jaw straight to the floor. She saw Wolf King swing his sharp claws toward a piece of black stone. The next second, countless sparks flew out and instantly ignited the pile of fur Wolf King had prepared. Then the other wolves rushed over, and in an instant the branches caught into a roaring blaze. And that wasn't all. What really stunned Ji Yingying was seeing her Wolf King place a flat stone slab right above the fire. Then the wolves brought pine resin and monster meat, and under the intense heat, the resin and monster oil slowly mixed, then flowed down the grooves in the stone slab into the bamboo tubes I'd prepared. What is he doing? Jiyu Qing'an, awakened by the smell of meat, staring blankly at the scene in front of me, completely at a loss. Ji Yingying just kept shaking her head. This unimaginable scene before her had already completely shattered common sense. Wolf Dad has even learned how to use fire. Are you kidding me? You have to know that back in ancient times, it took humanity hundreds of thousands of years to figure out how to use fire. But now a snow wolf is actually right in front of him, starting a fire with flint, and then cooking. No, wait, it doesn't seem to be cooking. Ji Yingying's mind was buzzing. Just at this moment, he noticed Wolf Dad turning and walking into the treehouse, holding a section of bamboo in his mouth. Under the shocked gazes of the two little ones, I clawed a deep hole in the wall of the room with a single swipe. Then I buried the bamboo tube in the hole at an angle. The next second, I gently rubbed the flint I was holding, directly igniting the mixture of oils inside the bamboo tube. It's an oil lamp. At that moment, both the Empress and the Demon Lord were dumbfounded. Ji Yingying's pupils trembled with shock. I've been around for over 100 years, but I've never seen such a bizarre thing. Langba, you didn't become a spirit, did you? What Jiyu Qing'an cared about was the aura swirling around that bamboo tube. A spiritual treasure of heaven and earth. Langba, you're seriously extravagant. You actually used a spiritual treasure as an oil lamp. You have to realize that the spiritual energy hasn't revived yet. The value of these spiritual treasures, even as a powerful lord in a previous life, are difficult for me to estimate. As for Wolfba's treatment of us, there's really nothing more to say. Maybe this isn't so bad after all. Jiyu Qing'an murmured. All this time, his world was filled with battle and slaughter. Survival of the fittest has always been his creed. But right now that code seemed meaningless. The care given by the Snow Wolf King made Jiyu Qing'an feel a peace he had never known. I let out a gentle howl, as if to soothe the two little ones. That light howl was full of comfort and calm. Ji Yingying and Jiyu Qing'an both understood. Wolf Dad's care for them was genuine. Soon, the two little ones drifted off to sleep. I lay down nearby to guard them and fell asleep too, until dusk arrived. The two little ones, with their growling stomachs, woke me from my deep sleep. For some reason, when I met eyes with the two little ones, I suddenly felt that those two pairs of eyes seemed to hold a hint of shyness. I twitched my nose slightly, and suddenly understood what had happened. Well, the two little ones wet the bed. Luckily, I planned ahead. Even though I can't make high-tech diapers, while refining lamp oil, I dried plenty of beast pelts by the fire. Under the little ones' shy and shocked stares, I lifted the two little ones with my wolf paw and called over two she-wolves to replace the beast skin in their swaddling and throw out their soiled diapers. At first, Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan were a little embarrassed. But after all, Wolf Dad is just a wolf, so there's not really anything to be shy about. The two quickly convinced themselves. After I patted their swaddling with animal skin, I added a layer of snow sheep wool I hunted and covered it with more animal skin. Just like that, the little one's swaddling instantly became a deluxe baby crib. The two girls watched Wolf Dad's actions. Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan were both astonished. Looks like this Wolf Dad is actually very responsible. Not just responsible, but professional too. While the two little ones' minds were wandering, I hadn't forgotten about the important stuff. Very soon, two she-wolves, one on each side, lay down next to the two little ones and started acting as wet nurses. Meanwhile, I turned my gaze outside the study. The two little ones eat a startling amount. Looks like I'll have to come up with some new beasts for food. Sleepless through the night. The next day I fully woke up. It's time to hunt. I gently hooked the fur with my paw and covered the two little ones' bodies. Then I got up and walked out of the treehouse. This time I deliberately kept my howl quiet, so I wouldn't disturb the two sleeping little ones. But little did I know, Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan had already woken up miraculously. Wolf Dad went out hunting. Ji Yingying mumbled softly, then promptly dozed off again. Ji Qingyan couldn't help but think more. Once upon a time, even when he was the demon lord, he had never enjoyed such peace. A sweet smile appeared on his lips, and he drifted back to sleep. Tianshan Forest. I swept my cold gaze over the hunting ground. My forepaws sank deep into the snow. The snow wolves formed a fan-shaped encirclement with me. On the surface, the snow wolves seemed to be hunting alone. But once prey is discovered, the wolf pack will swarm in from all directions. This technique never fails me. The north wind carried the snow fox's unique musky scent into my nose. My pupils contracted into narrow slits. The prey has appeared. My hind leg muscles instantly exploded with power. With my speed boost skill active, I shot forward like a silver bolt of lightning. Finally, I saw the prey, a giant snow fox beast. Shock turned to delight. After hunting that mutant beast yesterday, I got a blue ability tag. As for this mutated fox beast in front of me, could it bring yet another surprise? I let out a low howl. The next second, all around me the snow wolf beast surged in like a tide. The mutated snow fox beast is indeed powerful, but the pack of wolf beasts who have followed me have survived countless battles and instantly surrounded the snow fox. Amid the crisp sounds of claws and fangs clashing, the mutated snow fox suddenly rose up on its hind legs. Its terrifyingly powerful forelimbs swept across. No one knew what material that snow fox's sharp claws were made of. A larch as thick as a person was snapped in half with a crack. Seeing this, my eyes immediately lit up. Then, with a powerful kick, I leapt into the air. With its ferocious canine fangs, it precisely pierced the mutated snow fox's femoral artery. The snap of a broken cervical spine echoed out. The blood fox beast died just like that. You have hunted a quasi-elite beast. Bloodblade Snow Fox is now level 12. Dropped a white magnetic blade claw. Do you wish to absorb the blade claw? Tempering the blade claw with spiritual energy will enhance and strengthen it. This can greatly improve the host's attack power and armor-piercing ability. Of course I didn't hesitate. I immediately chose to try it. Soon, a hint of joy appeared on my face. I swung the newly grown blade claw in my hand. A nearby ancient tree was sliced in half by the claw. I'm set. After sensing the power within the blade claw, I didn't get carried away. I simply led the wolf pack to continue hunting. Within snow wolf territory, Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan woke from a nap, and at that moment were lying at the edge of their bedding, looking out at the world beyond the treehouse. Neither of them had to worry about their own safety anymore. Instead, they began to feel a bit bored and lonely. Put simply, they had nothing to do. Ji Qingyan was currently counting the number of silver hairs on a piece of animal hide. At that moment, outside the treehouse, a group of wolf pups suddenly appeared playing. Their otherwise dull day became a bit more colorful. Suddenly, Ji Yingying noticed something. Don't you think? This snow wolf pack seems really smart. Hearing this, Ji Qing'an turned his gaze over. Their eyes were pure ice blue, just as they should be. But in those eyes, aside from wildness, there even seemed to be a hint of curiosity. One of the pups seemed to want to approach the treehouse, but was stopped by a female wolf. Ji Yingying and Ji Qing'an both realized something important. These wolves' intelligence far surpassed that of ordinary wild animals. Just then, suddenly something unexpected happened. A female wolf left to guard the pack, let out a sharp, low growl. Ji Yingying and Ji Qing'an didn't speak wolf, but they could hear the tense threat in that call. What's going on? The Empress and Demon Lord's eyes widened simultaneously. At that moment, Ji Yingying and Ji Qing'an saw the mass of black-gray wolves outside the door. They dared not hope that any king among those gray wolves would want to take them in. The next second, a murderous howl rang out. A dozen strong black wolves emerged from the woods. Right now in the snow wolf pack, only 2 adult males and 9 females remained. How could they possibly resist a black wolf pack many times their size? Could it be that my rebirth has been cut short, and I'll die halfway after all? Ji Qing'an was stunned.
Hearing this,
Ji Yingying couldn't help but twitch her lips. Why say something like that? Do you have to jinx it? But he had to admit, the remaining snow wolves stood no chance against the black wolves. Just at the critical moment, a deafening wolf howl came from the forest edge, echoing from afar. It's Wolf Alpha. Ji Yingying was a little surprised. Ji Qing'an next to her quickly patted his non-existent chest in relief. But Ji Yingying thought of something else. She furrowed her brows slightly. Even counting Wolf Alpha, the whole snow wolf pack's effective combatants were just over 20. But the black pack had at least 50 wolves. Although Wolf Alpha was an elite beast, those black wolves were also spirit tier beasts. Now things looked bad. Having been alerted by the female wolf in the forest, I unleashed my full speed and quickly arrived at the wolf pack's camp. The scene before me immediately awakened the beast inside me. Those ice blue animal eyes filled with fury. How dare these black wolves invade my hunting grounds, even attacking the snow wolf pack's den? If I hadn't had a sudden urge today and ended the hunt early, just imagining what could have happened to the snow wolf pack makes my eyes flare with anger. You all deserve to die. Especially now, I had already begun to see those 2 human kids as family. With my furious roar, the black wolves noticed me. A chorus of howls erupted. A tall black wolf king stepped out from their ranks. Watching the black wolf king appear, Ji Yingying and Ji Qing'an were both stunned. Elite level beast. So the rumors were true. They had already begun to evolve, even before the resurrection of spiritual energy. At that moment, Ji Yingying didn't get excited about discovering the truth. Her face only showed anxiety. It was another elite-level beast, and there were far more black wolves than snow wolves. No matter how you fought, the outcome of this battle seemed inevitable. As the 2 kids panicked, I was already the first to charge in. With my command, the snow wolves all took fighting stances, and I threw myself into the black wolf pack at the forefront. Ji Qing'an couldn't bear to watch anymore. At that moment, the blade claws shone with lethal light. The wolf claws I swung became supreme killing weapons. Every swipe brought a spray of blood. The Black Wolf King was just about to start a battle between kings with me, when I instantly crouched and tensed my muscles. My blade claws flashed by, and I became a silver streak of light. In a single motion, I took the lives of several black wolves, including the Black Wolf King. The battle reached its climax. Inside the treehouse, Ji Qing'an's eyes widened. He couldn't help but mumble, "Wolf Dad, take him out." That was the Black Wolf King. Finished off in one strike, the battle continued. But facing these fearless wolves, even the blade claws would sometimes be blocked by their bones. My prize speed was also slowed by the blood. After the Wolf King died, the crazed black wolves surged at me like a tide. A spray of blood burst into the sky. This time it was me who got hurt. My silver fur was finally stained with my own blood. Ji Yingying instantly got emotional. Her heart was moved. Wolf Dad is hurt. Clearly, she's just a baby girl. But the Empress's soul inside her was raging. Jiu Qing'an, next to her, was stunned too. Both her tiny fists tightened. Damn black wolves. Jiu Qing'an's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He could feel Wolf Dad's care for them. But at this moment, he was powerless. Jiu Qing'an was about to explode with anger. Fortunately, even though the black wolves' attacks were fierce, I wasn't about to go down easily either. My claws lashed out again, and cold light flashed. As a human soul, all I wanted was to avoid getting hurt. But since I was already injured, I completely let loose instead. A wolf howl radiated the purest killing intent. Lunar Howl skill activated. This is a skill only royal beast clans can use. When the wolf beasts of the Snow Wolf clan heard the howl, they were all inspired. Their combat power skyrocketed. The balance of victory began to tilt in favor of the snow wolves. The outcome was set. Only at this moment, Jiu Qing'an finally let out a long sigh of relief. Wolf Dad is truly amazing. He won with his cold, sharp gaze and decisive lethal moves. It was basically textbook perfect. He was clearly already injured. But when facing a wolf pack many times his number, he didn't fall behind at all. His combat power is simply monstrous. Compared to Jiu Qing'an, Ji Yingying was shocked by Wolf Ba's strength. But what concerned her more was the occasional glance Wolf Ba threw at the treehouse. Ji Yingying was sure that she could sense the anger in Wolf Ba's eyes. It wasn't just his authority being challenged. His territory was invaded. But most importantly, it was about her and Jiu Qing'an's safety. In other words, Wolf Dad really treats them as family. With this thought, Ji Yingying's eyes filled with unprecedented emotion. So this is what it feels like to be cared for? Suddenly, Ji Yingying smiled. She was just a baby, but her smile was so deep and heavy. Amidst the battlefield, covered in blood, I let my mind sink deep into my spiritual sea. You have slain a spirit-level beast, the black-backed wolf. Dropped a cyan magnetic strip. Absorb black wolf claw. You have slain an elite-level beast, the Black Wolf King. Dropped a white magnetic strip. Absorb Black Wolf dominance. Silver-level innate magnetic strip. Greatly increases control over the Black Wolf clan. I hesitated for a moment, but I already had a plan in mind. All those cyan magnetic strips were nothing good, and they conflicted with the Snow Wolf bloodline in my body, so I used them all as nourishment to strengthen my other magnetic strips. As for Black Wolf dominance, after absorbing it, it transformed into Snow Wolf dominance, just as I suspected. After all, Black Wolves and Snow Wolves are both Wolf Beast clans. At this moment, I looked at my attribute panel. After absorbing so many entries, I now had 4 white entries, even though I was only at level 14. My power had already surpassed ordinary elite beasts. Unknowingly, the battle ended quietly. The invading Black Wolf beasts were almost completely wiped out by the Snow Wolf pack. The Snow Wolves also suffered casualties. 2 Snow Wolves died in battle. 3 were wounded. 1 Snow Wolf was barely hanging on. Even though they won, the atmosphere at the Snow Wolves' base was still heavy. Having witnessed the Wolf clan's bloody battle, Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an's eyes were filled with complicated, inexplicable emotions. These Snow Wolves died for me, the Emperor. Even with the soul of an empress, Ji Yingying still felt she couldn't bear it. The heaviness of those 2 falling Snow Wolves. Jiu Qing'an, standing by, chose silence as well. But he naturally liked to fight. Finally, after a long silence, he spoke. I will never forget this for the rest of my life. But right now, a more pressing problem appeared before them. That Snow Wolf barely breathing probably wouldn't last long. Not only that, the other slightly injured wolves, if they got infected, wouldn't live long either. What worried Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an the most was that Wolf Ba seemed to be injured too. Thinking of this, Ji Yingying and Consort Anne began to panic. It seems like Wolf Ba is seriously hurt. Damn it. If only we had awakened our spiritual power, maybe we could help somehow. But now, powerless, Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an suddenly looked gloomy. But at that very moment, Wolf Ba's long howl sounded again. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the study. Ji Yingying and Jiu Qingyan looked outside at the same time. What is Wolf Ba doing? But the next scene completely shattered Ji Yingying and Jiu Qingyan's worldview. As the two watched in shock, the Wolf carried over a large, natural semi-circular stone vessel from afar, then set it up over the fire. It looked just like a giant stone pot, and the blackened smoke stains on the side of the stone pot proved this wasn't the first time it had happened. Wolf Dad started a fire and set up the pot again. Was he really about to hold a feast? Jiu Qingyan's voice rose slightly in pitch, but even that couldn't fully express the shock in his heart. All of Wolf King's actions were strange, and showed a level of intelligence not usually found in beasts. Could it be we misunderstood Wolf King? Maybe he doesn't want to adopt us. Maybe he wants to cook and eat us. Ji Yingying was rendered speechless by her own analysis. But it really did seem things were heading that way. Those female wolves used spirit beads as containers, and quickly brought back creek water from the spring. Then they poured it into the stone pot. A few more she-wolves came out of my old cave, dragging out some brittle sticks and dry grass. It looked pretty ordinary, but somehow the air was filled with a strange sound. The next second, I tossed the sticks and dry grass into the stone pot and started boiling them. With the bitter smell rising up, steam began to billow from the pot. Jiu Qingyan's pupils shrank. He was suddenly wide awake, his eyes reflecting an unprecedented shock. He would rather believe Wolf King wanted to stew him than believe everything that was unfolding before him. At this moment, the demon lord was stunned. This makes no sense. Ji Yingying was nearly petrified on the spot. This Wolf Dad knows way too much. Now I scooped out the finished medicinal decoction, let it cool, then fed it to the wounded wolves. The snow wolves that drank the medicine soon showed signs of slight improvement, especially the wolf that was on the brink of death. Its once listless eyes started to focus again, and its labored breathing gradually steadied. Seeing this, Ji Yingying was totally stunned. Something doesn't add up. That decoction has to be more than just regular medicine. Silver bony flower, white mustard bamboo, phase snowgrass. Oh my god. That soup wasn't just herbs. There was clearly the essence of true spiritual plants in it. Ji Yingying finally understood why the effects of the medicine were so miraculous. Wolf King managed to evolve to elite beast level, even before the world's aura was revived. Clearly, he had consumed spiritual treasures of heaven and earth. It did seem a little wasteful, but it no doubt allowed Wolf King to awaken intelligence early and unlock sentience. Thinking of that, she was immediately dumbfounded. If Wolf King had gained intelligence, he should realize even more how important those spiritual treasures were to him. Why was he being so generous? Such selflessness shouldn't exist in magical beasts, especially in the Snow Wolf King, but that was the reality now. Jiu Qingyan couldn't figure it out, but Ji Yingying's eyes lit up with joy and anticipation. Maybe this was the reason Wolf Dad decided to take them in, because Wolf Dad was different from other magical beasts. As the fire continued to burn, the medicine began to work. Very quickly, the injured wolves were all full of energy again. Jin Yingying looked at me, her eyes filled with growing curiosity and mounting astonishment. Compared to the reserved Ji Yingying, Jiu Qingyan was visibly shaken and couldn't hide it. Wolf King is just too impressive. It was one thing to fight off so many alone, but to heal the snow wolves after battle with herbal medicine. Inside the Snow Wolf tribe territory, once all the wounded had been treated, the atmosphere didn't return to normal at all. In fact, things grew even more solemn. Then Ji Yingying was shocked to discover Wolf King was gone, several hundred meters outside the Snow Wolves settlement, right in a gurgling stream. I dragged my blood-soaked wolf body straight in. If I didn't wash off the blood soon, the wounds might get infected. Much as I trusted my own strength, I wasn't about to take chances with my life. The icy stream water quickly washed away the blood and grime. By the time I returned to the Snow Wolf's base, my silvery blue fur had regained its former splendor and nobility. Yet the odd air among the Snow Wolves left Ji Yingying completely baffled. I walked into the treehouse, first checking if the two little ones had wet the bed, then gently picked them up along with their swaddling. Through my heterochromatic, icy eyes, both children could sense the sorrow in Wolf Dad's heart. This kind of emotion should only exist in humans. Yet here it was, shown by Wolfdad. Ji Yingying felt her mind go blank. Jiu Qing'an, on the other hand, was far more emotional. After sensing Wolfdad's grief, he couldn't help but feel low as well. Soon, both he and Ji Yingying were carried out of the treehouse and brought to a clearing in the woods. Why did Wolfdad bring them here? Jiu Qing'an couldn't figure it out, but he sharply noticed that the land here was dotted with little mounds and dead tree branches stuck in the ground. What was this place? At that moment, the entire pack of snow wolves all came approaching in an orderly line. At the front were 2 snow wolves, each carrying the bodies of the fallen wolves by their necks. Jiu Qing'an was startled. Was Wolf King going to eat the slain wolves? Cannibalism wasn't unusual among magical beasts, so it wasn't exactly shocking. But to Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an, if Wolfdad really ate his own kind, that could only mean one thing. No matter how different he was still just a wolf. The 2 snow wolf corpses were gently placed on the ground. I stepped up to the mounds, and my paws started moving rapidly on the earth. Before long, I had dug 2 shallow graves. My icy blue eyes narrowed, baring my fangs, and I picked up the bodies of my kin with my mouth, but didn't use much force. Then I used my paws to bury the 2 wolves. With a sweep of my claws, I broke down a small tree nearby. Instantly chopping it into 2 logs, I pressed gently with my front paws and buried the 2 logs in the soil. At that moment, Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an understood. Wolfdad had prepared a funeral for those 2 snow wolves. That's right, it was a funeral. Ji Yingying's heartbeat sped up. If she hadn't seen this with her own eyes, no one would have ever believed it. What were magical beasts supposed to be? Everyone said they had powerful bodies but lacked intelligence. But with Wolf King here, Ji Yingying was starting to question that iron rule. Such deep, weighty emotions. Even humans may not truly understand. Yet now she'd felt it from the Snow Wolf King. Jiu Qing'an, standing aside, seemed to lose focus for a moment. Finally, Jiu Qing'an calmed down. He looked up, just meeting Ji Yingying's gaze. The 2 stared silently. The shocking scene before them left both the Empress and the Demon Lord silent. The next second, I suddenly lifted my head and let out a deep, resonant, far-reaching wolf howl. The wind carried it through the forest, gradually blowing away the solemn air. Thus this special funeral came to an end. Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an went from initial shock and emotion to finally both lowering their heads, silently mourning with the pack of snow wolves. Out of the corner of my eye, I watched the 2 little ones who looked like they were mourning royalty, and couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. These 2 little ones seemed really smart. The funeral ended. I gently picked up the swaddle holding the 2 of them and walked toward the treehouse. But halfway there, looking at a clearing bathed in sunlight, I thought about it and decided to let the 2 little ones sunbathe. At the same time, with a low growl rumbling in my throat, the rest of the snow wolves sprang into action and began cleaning up the battlefield. Although these black wolves are also part of the wolf tribe, to the snow wolves, their bodies are also considered food. A bunch of snow wolves dragged the corpses of black wolves everywhere, then headed toward the area beside the former Wolf King's den. Ji Yingying got curious. What are they doing? Jiu Qing'an finally saw clearly that there was another hidden cave next to the Wolf King's den. And not only that, cold air kept drifting out from the cave entrance. Jiu Qing'an was a bit dumbfounded. Are they burying the black wolf corpses? It doesn't seem like that either. Just as he was still confused, Ji Yingying finally caught on, her face filled with curiosity and shock. I understood. This is a special food storage cellar for the snow wolves. Honestly, compared to the funeral, this cellar is nothing special. But it does look quite impressive. That cold air seems to contain a faint spiritual energy. Jiu Qing'an wasn't bothered, and didn't feel too shocked. As the snow wolf monsters got to work, where the battlefield had been covered in black wolf corpses, most of them had already been moved to the cellar. Ji Yingying's gaze lingered on the cave entrance for a long time. That lingering cold air and the faint ice crystals at the entrance clearly showed this cave was an ice storage. Jiu Qing'an's mind was slow to catch up. Ice storage or not, it's just a warehouse, isn't it? But the next second, Jiu Qing'an froze on the spot as well. A Snowvolf's intelligence shouldn't have evolved to the point of using ice storage for food preservation, right? Both empresses were deep in thought, their expressions constantly changing. But in my eyes, I just saw them as two curious little ones, curious about something new. I looked at the two little ones with pampering affection, feeling even more determined to protect these two little ones. After finishing cleaning up the battlefield, another group of snow wolves hurried back from the forest, bringing back the prey left behind earlier, including the body of a snow fox and an elk, the blood and flesh and driven by a few snow wolves. A herd of fluffy snow sheep appeared in the Snowvolf pack settlement. Ji Yingying was stunned on the spot. Jiu Qingyan also fell into deep thought. Lang, although he hasn't awakened yet, still has the sharp eyes of a titled demon lord. He could instantly tell that this herd of snow sheep showed signs of mutation. With enough time, they would surely awaken a demon spirit gift and fully evolve into demon beasts. But how come all these snow sheep are female? Before Ji Yingying and Jiu Qingyang could think further, the snow sheep smelled the blood and instantly became agitated. Even the surrounding snow wolves had trouble controlling them. They're not going to let these sheep escape, are they? Jiu Qingyang widened his eyes, with a hint of weirdness in his gaze. The snow sheep smelled the blood and instantly became agitated. Even the surrounding snow wolves had trouble controlling them. They're not going to let these sheep escape, are they? Jiu Qingyang widened his eyes, with a hint of weirdness in his gaze. The next second, I stood up straight. A sudden wolf howl broke the silence and completely suppressed the agitation of the snow sheep. All the sheep were intimidated. Just now, I was testing the snow wolf's pressure effect, and it was several times stronger than I imagined. Even the breathing of the snow sheep quieted considerably, as if they were surrendering. I walked up a few steps and stood in front of the herd of snow sheep. My sharp wolf claws scraped the ground, and in an instant marked out an area. Then, with a swing of my paw, I chopped down more than a dozen large trees. Drawing a boundary? Jiu Qingyang suddenly seemed to think of something terrifying, and subconsciously leaned back a little. The next second, I waved my wolf claws. The deadly sharp claws became my tools for carpentry work. Wolf claws flew, and in an instant, numerous trunks were shaved into wooden stakes, which I then nailed into the ground. Building a fence in the Waxia style, Langba is actually going to raise snow sheep. Jiu Qingyang muttered to himself. After exchanging looks with Empress Ji Yingying, they both felt the shock in each other's eyes. Demon beasts, huh? It's one thing for Langba to keep food in an ice storage, but now he's actually starting to raise livestock. Spiritual energy hasn't even recovered yet, and Ba is already planning to lead his Snowvolf pack, directly from hunting snow sheep to raising snow sheep. No matter how you think about it, it's just bizarre. Ji Yingying fell into deep thought. Could it be that Wolf Dad is really developing animal husbandry? From a human perspective, this doesn't seem like a big deal. But the key is, Wolf Dad isn't even human.
Again, a long howl echoes. The imposing aura of the snow wolf is released once more. Two trembling female sheep in the herd slowly rise to their feet. They lay down on either side of the two of them. At the same time, from the female snow sheep, the faint scent of ewe's milk begins to spread. After catching that sweet, slightly bloody scent, the two little ones finally snap out of their daze. Turns out, Wolf Dad was trying to improve their diet. That's why he kept those snow sheep penned up. Ji Jingying's suspicion was proven correct. For a moment, she could only mutter to herself, "So that's it." Wolf Dad wasn't worried that the wolf pack would run out of food, but that the two of us would. Hearing this, Jiu Qingyang was also stunned. Then he suddenly turned around. He looked at Wolf Dad, who was working hard to build the sheep pen. "Was this for me?" Jiu Qingyang spoke softly. It felt like something was surging in his chest. An indescribable feeling of being moved erupted from the bottom of his heart. "Looks like Wolf Dad more and more." He felt a wave of emotion. Then suddenly his stomach rumbled. The next second, the two little ones dropped all restraint. They pounced straight onto the female snow sheep. Soon, I finished building the sheep pen. After locking up all the snow sheep, I carried the two little ones back to the treehouse. They both abandoned their ridiculous plans. The next day, since all the black wolves were wiped out, I had a few snow wolves mark the black wolves' territory, and expanded my own territory. Then I returned to the treehouse once again, looking at the two little ones, bare bodies, even though it wasn't cold inside the treehouse. Winter was coming, so I still had to solve the clothing issue for the two little ones. After a moment of thought, an idea came to mind. Soon, I brought a few black wolf carcasses from the ice cellar. This snow fox fur is seriously warm. Their sharp claws became my tailoring tools. Ji Jingying and Luanfi's eyes were filled with surprise. What's Wolf Dad up to? I used my claws to cut the wolf pelts into strips, then took the softer snow fox hide, sewed it with fur, and finally made two fox fur skirts. Ji Jingying and Jiu Qing'en were completely dumbfounded. Wolf Dad holding funerals, digging ice cellars, building sheep pens, that could all be explained by awakened intelligence. But now, what's Wolf Dad doing? Did the Wolf King become a tailor now instead of ruling? Am I dreaming or what? Ji Jingying was totally stunned. This skirt is honestly so ugly, you can barely look at it. But it's made by Wolf Dad himself. Jiu Qing'an was beyond shocked, so she could only quietly put on the fox fur skirt. Whatever else you say, Ji Jingying followed her example. I sally skinned them using my wolf claws. Countless hidden magical beasts. These newborn snow wolf cubs. A look of joy appeared in my eyes. If you don't look close, they're just like little wolf pups. What can idu? I smiled genuinely. After putting on the snow fox skirts, Ji Jingying and Jiu Qing'an were picked up by me once more and taken out of the treehouse. The two little ones. There's nothing wrong with getting more sun. A few wolf pups in the pack. A wolf's howl burst through the forest, shaking the sky and earth, and immediately grew curious. To Ji Jingying and Jiu Qing'an's surprise, when the wolf pups played beside them, they actually sheathed their fangs and claws on their own, already showed the intelligence. Looking at the two little ones in their fox fur skirts, of spirit beasts after the spiritual rejuvenation, they're all monsters. Ji Jingying couldn't help but sigh, but she had to admit, this kind of life was pretty good. Who's like that? They settled down peacefully among the snow wolves. In just 5 days, it felt as if they'd completely integrated into the snow wolf pack. Suddenly, I sensed something was off. I looked up abruptly. Only then did I notice that at some point, the full moon was quietly hanging in the sky. The setting sun plummeted past the horizon. When the spiritual tide arrives, Jiu Qing'an and Ji Jingying seemed to sense something. They both looked up. The full moon shone brightly. The first spiritual tide of the spirit key rejuvenation was about to arrive. After being reborn as the Snow Wolf King, the first thing was to collect baby formula and diapers everywhere, which led me to adopt a human girls. But what I didn't expect was, these two baby girls were actually reincarnated empresses, right at this moment. Jiu Qing'an and Ji Jingying seemed to sense something. They both looked up. The full moon shone brightly. The first spiritual tide of the spirit key rejuvenation was about to arrive. The two girls looked excited and inspired, even though for now they're only in baby and can't start cultivating yet. The two of them were top-tier powerhouses in their previous lives, and the whole forest was engulfed in eerie silence. At that moment, and they'll begin training Ebenas infants. The next second, darkness fell suddenly. My ice-cold eyes suddenly narrowed. All they'll need is a breathing technique. For some reason, now when I breathe, I can faintly sense something extra in the air. Looking around, I finally noticed above the moonlight. A pale blue aura was surging out from the earth. spirit energy. I started piecing it together. Ji Jingying and Ji Yuqing'an both closed their eyes at the same time. A subtle spiritual aura was drawn to Ji Jingying and suddenly gave them a hint of holiness. They were not alone in this. Under the moonlight, all the snow wolves were undergoing a transformation thanks to my hunts for spirit-filled prey. The snow wolf pack had lingering spiritual essence inside. Ji Jingying noticed the change in Wolf King. With me at the center, countless snow wolf beasts responded. A long, melodious howl echoed under the moonlight. Then, throughout the forest, tens of thousands of beasts began to roar. A riot of fierce beasts erupted, as if celebrating the dawn of the era of spiritual rejuvenation. At that moment, Ji Yingying and Lu Anfai opened their eyes wide. The spirit key rejuvenation just began. Successfully started operating within her infant body, even though it only showed less than 1% of its full power. It still let Ji Jing step into the spirit energy level. Ju Qinggan was the same. From now on, it was only a matter of time before the two regained their peak. Meanwhile, I, in front of the study, opened my eyes first. Host's current level has risen to level 16. Host receives spiritual feedback. System prompts global spirit key rejuvenation enabled. Awakened new talent. So, resonance. Two system messages followed one after the other. A hint of amusement appeared at the corner of my mouth. Surprises always come so unexpectedly. Under the spiritual rejuvenation, I actually leveled up twice at once. As for the awakened Wolfpack resonance talent, only a Wolf King bloodline can awaken it. Unfortunately, no one will sleep tonight. Pack resonance, all snow wolf attributes plus 15%. Once this talent's activated, all the snow wolves in the pack seemed to sense it at once and raised their paws toward me. Wait. Hold on. 20 faint spirit energy auras burst forth from Ji Jingying and Ji Yu. No way are you kidding me? But every beast in the Snow Wolf clan, Ji Jingying's innate breathing technique, already achieved their first eve. They've collectively entered the realm of Oro class beasts. Som, Abe, even reached the level of quasi-elite beasts. Just how extraordinary is the tribe where Wolf King resides? He and Ji Jing both know very well. The most unique wolf among the pack is Wolf King, unless something unexpected happens. The recent changes in the Snow Wolf tribe are probably all related to Wolf King. The world immediately fell silent. How did their Wolf King manage to do all this? Under the moonlight, the wolf pack first bows to the moon. Then, as a group, they all lower their bodies in my direction. In each pair of icy blue beast eyes, there is absolute loyalty and fervor. Ji Jingying and Ji Yuqing'an both fell silent. After intercepting that wisp of aura, the two girls used to guard against each other. Each feared the other would seize the advantage by taking the lead, but that's no longer an issue. After seeing the talent of the Snow Wolf pack and Wolf King, after all, these bodies are way too frail. The night passed quickly. Weak Ju Qing'an finally admitted the truth. For now, I'll have to let the aura nurture my body. Once the aura is fully restored, it won't be long before I should be able to awaken my talent. I'll begin cultivation. Although this aura tied, hearing this, Ji Jingying remained silent. Silence equals agreement. Clearly, he also realizes that before he awakens his own talent, there's really not much he can do. Just then, Ivra, I slowly walked over to them. Wolf King seems to have used up a lot of energy. That faint hint of exhaustion, he definitely overextended his potential. Made her realize the truth immediately. It seems. Elite class is already the extreme limit for Wolf King at this stage. Raised Wolf King's level quite a bit. That's when the two of us will really be competitors. Ju Kingan let out an "oh" right away, which let them resonate with the spiritual tide. Sure enough, according to future theories, elite class is the absolute limit before true aura recovery. At that moment, roaring growls of magical beasts echoed through the forest. The magical beasts were eager to move. Ji Jingying and Ju Qingyan looked all around them. It was more than a little alarming. Within the forest, hundreds of sinister pupils gleamed in the darkness, some as cold as ghostly fire, some as red as blood. There were so many that it sent chills down everyone's spine. Although most of these beasts are just aura, their sheer numbers can't be underestimated. At least 300 to 500 of them. Could there be another bloody battle tonight? Ji Jingying thought of a certain possibility. Wolf King is strong. With a single howl, there might be no way out but death. Ju Qingyan couldn't help but clench his fists. At this moment, he wanted desperately to fight shoulder to shoulder with Wolf King, but his infant body became a burden. I, on the other hand, was a bit worried about the two little ones. After the herd's roar just now, their eyes had a hint of concern. Seeing this, I felt even more protective. These beasts clearly have no sense. I looked at the two little ones very gently. One of them whimpered softly. The next second, I suddenly kicked off with all 4 limbs. I was a bit worried about the two little ones. Looked at the two little human girls. After the herd's roar just now, there was a bit of concern in their eyes. Seeing this only made me feel more protective, and carried the two little ones back to the study. There was a soft whimper. In the next instant, I suddenly kicked off with all 4 limbs. A thunderous wolf's howl echoed through the entire forest. This wasn't a negotiation, but a one-sided warning, far surpassed anything I imagined. That howl contained not just the snow wolf's intimidation, but also absorbed the energy of the other snow wolves, were simultaneously frightened by my killing intent. But even so, facing the attack of hundreds of magical beasts, but then again, changing into the pure white fox fur beast skirt. Then I gently bared my fangs. The demon lord in the baby Juke. I looked very gently at the two little ones. Was already starting to question his own existence. It's true that Wolf King's level is only a, but that howl just now carried the might of a wolf emperor, almost reaching the extraordinary class. Maybe the opportunity Wolf King obtained during the aura tide, Ju Qingyan muttered to himself. With the pack resonance trait completely Ji Jingying just stared blankly at Wolf King, her breathing unconsciously growing heavier. Wolf King secretly broke through once again behind our backs. After bringing the two little ones back to the treehouse, I finally let out a breath of relief. Tonight is certainly anything but peaceful, but no matter what happens, I will never let the two little ones be threatened. After the snow wolf pack awakened outside the tree, they all instinctively guarded the area around it. Under the full moon, the snow wolf settlement was filled with tranquility. My howl kept countless weak magical beasts at bay. It creates a bond with fellow wolves, but it also attracted the attention of elite class beasts. At this very moment,
a powerful roar echoed out, responding to my earlier howl. Its body hadn't appeared yet, but Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan already sensed danger from the roar. The roar of a tiger in the forest. This was the laughter of a tiger beast. Ji Qingyan's guess was spot on. Just outside the library's main entrance, which was still unblocked, you could just barely see two ghostly glimmers deep in the distant forest. Everything was still far away, as if it was still over a kilometer out. The next second, a black shadow ripped through the night, revealing its full form. It was a massive beast over 4 meters long. Once they saw the beast's shape clearly, Ji Yingying and Ji Qingyan were both stunned. Inside the Tianshan forests, there were actually Siberian tigers. I only thought the two kids had been scared, and didn't think any deeper. I turned and walked out of the treehouse. Meanwhile, outside the treehouse, The many Snowwolf beasts of the Snowwolf clan all stood up at once. Zhuanwolf used its body to surround the treehouse tightly. Directly across from them stood that terrifying tiger beast. Siberian tiger level 18. Elite class beast, equipped with magnet-striped tiger wine silver. Power enhancement silver, sharp claws green. This beast is no joke. It's even 2 levels higher than me. Plus, its skills look impressive. A glint of battle spirit flashed in my eyes. But thinking of the 2 kids behind the treehouse, I forced myself to stay calm. Meanwhile, inside the treehouse, the Empress and Demon Lord were both panicking. No doubt about it, this is an elite tiger beast. Is today really the day I get eaten by a tiger? Jiu Qing'an blinked her big eyes. Though Wolf Overlord had brought them many surprises, the 2 of them knew in their hearts that beasts from the Tiger Clan and the Wolf Clan are born with an unbridgeable gap. Ji Yingying could no longer stay calm at this moment. But Jiu Qing'an just kept shaking her head. Yet her purple eyes had already lost focus. Even though Wolf Overlord is Snowwolf King, it's impossible for him to be a match for the tiger beast. Even if the entire Snowwolf pack attacked together, they might still not win. The next moment, the tiger beast sprinted in from afar, then stopped right in front of the treehouse, facing off against us. But under my command, the Snowwolf clan wasn't nervous at all. Both sides fell into a strange standoff. The tiger beast finally couldn't suppress its killing intent. It suddenly turned direction, like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, and began a slaughter. In just a few seconds, over a dozen snow sheep were all killed. Ji Yingying's eyes darkened. This tiger beast's combat power is no joke. A wave of worry surged in his heart. The tiger beast's ferocity. I saw it all. A raging fury instantly ignited in my eyes. But right now, the kid's safety matters most. With that in mind, I held back for now. But that vicious tiger wasn't about to let up. It stomped on the corpses of the snow sheep, devouring their flesh in big mouthfuls. Then it suddenly spun around, locked eyes with me, gazing eerily. This guy finally couldn't hold back his killing intent. He lunged straight at the Snowwolf pack. Inside the treehouse, all the snow wolves had been cowed by the tiger's presence, shivering with fear. But at that moment, one wolf pup finally overcame its fear and let out a howl. Immediately after, the other pups howled as well, as if answering the tiger's roar. Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an were both deeply shaken. They never expected this group of wolf pups to show a courage that wasn't theirs by right. At the same time, battle was about to break out. Under my control, the wolf pack launched a coordinated attack on the tiger beast, with the whole snow wolf pack attacking together. The 2 sides barely seemed evenly matched. At this moment, Nihu's killing intent surged. Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an both tensed up, judging by the tiger beast's performance. Its combat strength was even higher than they anticipated. Jiu Qing'an couldn't help but sink into despair. I'm doomed. Is today really the day I get eaten by a tiger? Right then, I tensed my muscles, channeling my power. My front claws moved at lightning speed and slashed toward the tiger's vulnerable side. One strike tore through the tiger's flesh. The Siberian tiger howled in pain, letting out an angry roar. Speed boost. Magnet stripe activated. My wolf pack dodged that piercing tiger roar. As if guided by instinct, they followed with a deep, powerful howl of their own. The difference was, my howl held no direct killing force. But once they heard the Wolf King's order, the whole pack moved. The Siberian tiger was still stunned by the sneak attack, when a dozen snow wolves leaped at him. Under my guidance, the wolf pack became a highly efficient killing machine. The Siberian tiger reared up on 2 legs. A decisive battle was about to begin, but I was already on the move. Razor-sharp claws. All 4 skills in effect. My wolf claws flashed with a cold glint, aiming straight for the tiger beast's vital spot. While the Siberian tiger was still in a daze, my wolf claws pierced its heart. At the same time, my fangs opened wide, locking onto the tiger's throat. One blow finished it off. Ji Yingying's pupils dilated suddenly, overwhelmed with emotion. But only shock remained. Jiu Qing'an was even more awed by that blow, since she's known as the Valkyrie among humans. So she understood it even better. The force of a single strike, with the Siberian tiger's death. In an instant, all the elite beasts scattered in fear. My performance had intimidated all the assembled beasts. I slowly let go of the tiger's neck. You have slain a quasi-elite beast. The Siberian tiger is now level 17. Dropped. Barbed power enhancement white. At the same time, I could clearly feel my body growing stronger. With my Volf howl, the rest of the snow Volf beasts circled around. Before long, they devoured every bit of the tiger's body. Among beasts, evolution is all about devouring each other. The strength of the snow Volf pack directly boosts my own power. The restlessness in the Tianshan forest gradually faded away. I stood guard in front of the treehouse and soon drifted off to sleep. But in the treehouse, Ji Yingying and Ji Yukingen couldn't sleep at all. Volf Overlord's intelligence and strength were beyond imagination. But why didn't I remember him in my previous life? What really happened? Ji Yukingen sucked on her finger, her eyes flashing with suspicion. Maybe it's because I awakened at age 10 in my last life. And Volf Dad didn't survive until the 10th year of spiritual revival. He was killed early on. Thinking of this, Ji Yingying and Ji Yukingen's expressions changed. Since we've been adopted by Volf Dad this life, of course we can't let anything happen to him. At that moment, the two made an unspoken pact. Once I, the Emperor, awaken, I'll be the one to protect Volf Overlord. The next day I woke up, scanned the Snow Volf clan's surroundings, and realized there was another matter I had to consider now. The elite beasts that awakened in the forest last night surely aren't limited to just that Siberian tiger. Relying only on the treehouse can't completely guarantee the safety of the two little ones. We have to build defenses now. After I let out a long howl, the entire Snow Volf pack sprang into action. At my command, every Volf did its part. Many big trees were felled, and then cut into various logs. Ji Yingying and Ji Yukingen, who were woken up, watched as the Snow Volf pack cut down trees, seeing everything for themselves. What is Volf Dad up to this time? After being refined by spiritual energy, the two little ones can already crawl now. Then, as they finally made it outside the library door, they saw Volf Dad swinging his Volf claws. Ji Yukingen was a bit stunned. Is Volf Dad doing carpentry again? Isn't the library already good enough? Ji Yingying was speechless. No matter what Volf Dad is planning, clearly this is definitely something unusual. Just as the two of them were still dazed, about dozens of meters outside the library door, several logs had already been pounded into the ground by Volf Dad. Then row after row of logs appeared, lined up like a wooden wall. Ji Yingying and Ji Yukingen were mind-blown. Is Volf Dad really going to build a Volf fortress? A sense of inexplicable dread crept up their spines, straight to the top of their heads. What on earth is going on in Volf Dad's head? At that moment, I seemed to hear their stomachs growling from hunger. I immediately ordered 2 thorn wolves to go into the treehouse and feed the 2 little ones milk. Meanwhile, I was calculating the structure of this defensive line. I have to say, since the arrival of the spiritual energy tide, I've only leveled up twice on the surface. But in reality, many of the skills I've mastered have been enhanced. My Volf claws are even sharper. Doing carpentry work feels effortless now. So with the 2 little ones watching, I basically became a Snow Volf version of Master Lu Ban. By midday, around the Snow Volf pack's settlement, an 800-meter wooden wall had been constructed. At this moment, Ji Yingying and Ji Yukingen were completely shocked by the scene before their eyes. From morning until now, just a few hours have passed. Volf Dad practically built a Snow Volf village. Ji Yukingen, sharp-eyed as ever, immediately spotted a wooden ladder leaning against the wall. Several Volf beasts were climbing up onto the wall by the ladder. It actually looked a bit comical. Ji Yingying saw snow wolves patrolling the wall. Volf Dad didn't just build a wall. He also left space up there to walk around. It's better than a Volf fortress. Obviously, all this is for the 2 kids. Ji Yingying and Ji Yukingen were deeply touched. Then they saw, at the turn not far away, several snow wolves were still working. The lead Snow Volf was an elite-level beast, and at that moment its sharp claws danced. In no time, a log was shaved down. Then several wolves worked together, biting a rope twisted from vines and tree bark, beside a tripod made of logs. At the top of the tripod, the vine rope threaded through a very basic pulley structure. Like that, 4 snow wolves slowly pulled the log up by biting the vine. The sharpened log was hoisted into place. Jiu Qing'an couldn't hold it in anymore. Took out the impenetrable wall. He stayed calm, but now, what Wolfdad showed off completely surpassed the intelligence beasts should have. Then a log was nailed into the ground, becoming a part of the wall. Ji Yingying just couldn't figure it out. But gradually, she seemed to start realizing something. I get it now. It was because of last night's spiritual energy tide. Wolfdad was already pretty smart before the spiritual energy revival. And after the refinement, his evolution must be focused on intelligence. Ji Yingying's words made Jiu Qing'an fall into deep thought. If that's the case, Wolfdad is about to become the Archimedes of the Snow Wolf tribe. Just like that, by dusk, with combined efforts of the Snow Wolves and Wolfdad, Snow Wolf village finally took shape. Not only were there defensive walls against monsters, also the other Snow Wolves in the village followed the example, using animal hides, branches, and leaves to build primitive houses one after another. Outside the treehouse, Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an both fell silent. Wolfdad is really defying nature now. At the same time, both of them wondered. Since Wolfdad is so smart, how come he was nothing special in his past life? What really happened? With Wolfdad's talent, he should have at least evolved to king class. Ji Yingying fell into contemplation. A few days later, the second wave of the spiritual energy tide arrived. In the treehouse, Ji Yingying had just finished her milk, and her eyes gradually filled with anticipation. Although in her previous life, when the spiritual energy was just revived, she was also a baby just like now. But from records and materials, she knew the third spiritual energy tide was the ultimate moment of complete revival. Now that the second tide has come, the full revival is only a few days away. In this life, she's bound to change history. While Ji Yingying was lost in thought, it seemed she suddenly recalled something. His eyes suddenly widened as he looked at Jiu Qing'an beside him. You actually awakened ahead of time? Inside the library, Jiu Qing'an's infant body emitted a faint ethereal purple mist. Jiu Qing'an opened his eyes, revealing a hint of cunning. Didn't expect that, did you? These past few days, I have already perfected the purple jade breathing technique. Even with an infant's body, I can begin my cultivation. Although it cost me a price, one step ahead now means staying ahead for the rest of this life. I will definitely trample you under my feet. Immediately afterward, he felt a massive influx of information flooding frantically into his mind. My talent has awakened. With just a few thoughts, Jiu Qing'an's eyes were filled with excitement. This feeling was all too familiar to him. He immediately ignored Ji Yingying's gaze and sank his consciousness into his sea of soul. Legendary talent, 16 calamities. The familiar aura of time laws swirled around him. Jiu Qing'an frowned slightly, while Ji Yingying's expression showed a hint of realization. Although the talent was awakened early, Jiu Qing'an ended up awakening that same terrifying time-type talent, didn't he? First of all, his speed of absorbing spiritual energy, with the enhancement of the time talent, is equivalent to 3 times that of all awakeners at the same level. Furthermore, once the cocoon of 16 is deployed, it grants Jiu Qing'an the ability to control the battlefield. Not only can he freeze time in his immediate vicinity, but he can even control the flow of time in a specific area.
It is no exaggeration to say
that this talent is absolutely god tier. Ji Yingying suddenly felt a sense of frustration. However, very soon, Jiu Qing'an opened his eyes, his expression looking quite embarrassed. The aura of time on his body suddenly vanished. What's going on? The spiritual energy hasn't awakened yet. And I can't even use the 16 calamities talent I just awakened. Ji Yingying realized what was happening in an instant. 16 calamities belongs to the same legendary tier as her own ethereal abyss. It's just that she possesses a space-type talent. Awakening a legendary talent is indeed a good thing. But the crux of the problem is that both she and Jiu Qing'an are currently just infants, and the spiritual energy has not officially recovered yet. Leaving aside whether their bodies can withstand the activation of the talent, there simply isn't enough spiritual energy for them to use their abilities. As expected, after forcibly altering the purple jade breathing technique and awakening his talent early, Jiu Qing'an quickly suffered a backlash just by attempting to activate the 16 calamities talent. He was pushed to the brink of total exhaustion. Fortunately, his experience from his past life came into play. Jiu Qing'an quickly fell into a deep sleep to begin recovering his energy and spirit. At this moment, Ji Yingying couldn't help but turn her gaze outside the library. Without realizing it, she had been with Lang Ba for nearly half a month, and she had long since considered him true family. Don't worry, Wolf Dad. Once my ethereal abyss talent awakens, I will definitely not let you perish in this life. Just as she was feeling sentimental, a wave of spiritual resonance suddenly came from outside the building. It was that pack of snow wolves. Ji Yingying suddenly thought of a possibility. No way. This spiritual aura seems to belong to elite-level monsters. Their strength is only slightly weaker than Lang Ba's. Could it be? While Ji Yingying was in shock, howls of wolves echoed one after another outside the building, including the high-pitched cries of the young pups. The howling drew closer and closer. Finally, 6 young wolves appeared at the entrance of the library. All of them had completed their transformation. Semi-elite level monsters. Ji Yingying couldn't help but mutter to herself, what on earth happened? Jiu Qing'an was also forced awake from his slumber. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the 6 snow wolf monsters. Jiu Qing'an was completely stunned. It's only been half a month after experiencing 2 spiritual energy tides. These wolf pups actually evolved into semi-elite level monsters. If I remember correctly, when the last spiritual energy tide arrived, they were only at the spirit tier. Is it possible the talents of these 6 snow wolves are also extraordinary? From Ji Yingying's expression, he got his answer. He was originally thrilled about awakening his talent early, but after seeing these 6 snow wolves with mysterious talents, he was forced to face reality.
He was a demon lord.
Reincarnated, it was true. Possessing a terrifying talent, also true. But as of now, the 6 snow wolves he once looked down upon were like insurmountable mountains standing before him. Jiu Qing'an couldn't help but sigh, standing atop the city wall now. My mood is just like this clear blue sky, extremely bright and sunny. The Snow Wolf pack has completed a collective transformation. The pack's potential has been strengthened. Current bond effect. All attributes of the Snow Wolf pack increased by 20%. Every Snow Wolf has reached the semi-elite level. I don't know how the other monsters in this forest have evolved after the second spiritual energy tide, but I do know this. The Snow Wolf pack under my command, while perhaps not invincible in the Tianshan forest, is definitely a top-tier monster faction. Moreover, with the protection of the city walls now, it seems time to start expanding the pack's territory. My gaze shifted to the group of Snow Wolf monsters. With a single howl, I decided to let the elite-level Snow Wolf take my place and lead the pack out to hunt. At that moment, that Snow Wolf suddenly lowered its head with great respect. As you command, my king. A flash of pleasant surprise appeared in my beastly eyes. This Snow Wolf monster has actually gained intelligence as well. Although it looks a bit dim-witted compared to the other wolves, this one is clearly much smarter. My gaze swept over him, and I suddenly noticed, on his forehead, there was a wound left by the black wolf monster. Although the injury had healed, it still left a dark red scar. From now on, your name is Bladefang. Lead them out to hunt. I communicated using the tone of the wolf language. The next second, Bladefang immediately lowered his body fervently. As you command, my king. Soon, Bladefang took 3 adult snow wolves, plus the 6 newly matured pups, and walked out of the Snow Wolf village. This scene was witnessed by Ji Yingying and Jiu Qing'an, who were instantly filled with curiosity. What happened outside? And I didn't forget to carry the 2 little ones out of the library in my mouth. According to routine, it's time for them to sunbathe. With the help of the perfected purple jade breathing technique, Jiu Qing'an's aura was hidden, so I didn't sense any changes in the 2 little ones. Aside from the 10 snow wolves out hunting, the auras of the remaining wolves intertwined with each other, faintly resonating with Langba. Synchronized frequencies. Pack resonance. Although monster kings who could grasp such talents were everywhere in Ji Yingying's era, this is only the second spiritual energy tide. Fortunately, Wolf Dad had already given them enough shocks. They could accept this level of amazement now. In fact, they even developed a faint illusion That's since Langba is the Snow Wolf King. If he hadn't awakened the pack resonance talent, it would actually be quite strange. But what happened next made the two little ones widen their eyes. At Wolf King's command, the snow wolves split into two teams again. One wolf climbed up onto the city wall, as if it was patrolling. Another wolf slipped into the forest, probably to hunt. Division of labor is nothing special to wolves. But the key is, how did the snow wolves understand the idea of patrolling? Ji Yingying and Ji Yukingen swallowed hard. Soon, that group of prickly wolves who disappeared into the forest returned to Snow Wolf Village. It looked like they hadn't gone hunting after all. But when they got closer, the two kids' eyes grew even wider. In the mouths of those wolves, each was carrying some kind of plant stem or a vine. There were fruits hanging from the vines, and they also radiated a potent spiritual energy. Ji Yingying was stunned. These wolves actually went to pick spirit fruits. And Wolf King hadn't even done it himself. Some of those spirit fruits weren't fully ripe yet, and some contained only faint traces of spiritual energy. But at this stage, they were still ridiculously valuable. A bright red spirit fruit, called the Lingyuan fruit, a priceless spiritual treasure. For ordinary people or demon beasts, eating just one might trigger their spiritual awakening. If you ate 3, you guarantee a 100% awakening of your natural talent. Such a miraculous effect made even Jiyu Kingan drool a bit. If I had this fruit, I wouldn't have to work so hard to improve the Zhu breathing technique to help myself awaken early. With my talent, just one Lingyuan fruit would be enough. For an instant awakening, the sparkle in Ji Yingying's eyes suddenly grew even brighter. Ji Yingying started waving her tiny hands. Her baby babble instantly caught my attention. Is she calling me daddy? When I heard those babbling sounds, my eyes lit up instantly. From now on, you're both my daughters. When Ji Yingying made those cute little sounds, no one was more shocked than Jiu Qingyan. You actually called Wolf King dad. Calling someone daddy, think about it. Even though he considered me his Wolf dad in his heart, his soul was that of a demon lord. Jiu Qingyan was already 20 when he died in his past life. If we're talking soul age, he's older than Wolf dad. It's one thing to call me Wolf dad in his head, but to say it out loud, with that prideful personality, how could he ever do it? But Ji Yingying was already used to my care. She wasn't shy at all. After all, she was just a baby right now. Her cheeks were a little flushed, but when she thought about how important the Lingyuan fruit was to her, Ji Yingying decided to act cute without hesitation. It made my heart melt with cuteness. I let out a low howl, and Hojairu carried the Lingyuan fruit over to the little one. Then I saw that golden-haired kid reach out her chubby baby hand to grab a red fruit, and then pop it into her mouth. I was seriously startled. Although I had no experience raising kids in my past life, I'd still heard stories about children choking on food, so I panicked on the spot. But nothing happened to the little one. Instead, a clear wave of spiritual energy washed over her body. I suddenly realized, so that's it. It seems humans in this world can absorb spiritual energy even as babies. After all, I haven't met any other humans yet. So I chalked up the kids' unusual behavior to humans in this world having special body constitutions. And from the moment they're swaddled, they seem gifted. After getting the Lingyuan fruit, Jiu Qing'an was dumbfounded too. On one side is his pride. On the other, this tremendous opportunity. How could I, Demon Lord Jiu Qing'an, bend over for a foreign kingdom?
He closed his eyes as he spoke,
choosing to just ignore everything. But I used my sharp wolf claws to pick a Lingyuan fruit and carefully handed it to Jiu Qing'an. Since the golden-haired kid could eat it, the purple-haired one should be fine too. The moment Jiu Qing'an smelled the Lingyuan fruit, he opened his eyes and saw the fruit right in front of him. Since Ji Yingying could throw away her pride, then so could I, Demon Lord Jiu Qing'an. There's nothing wrong with enduring hardship for a while. No, it's acting cute for a spirit fruit. With that thought, Jiu Qing'an flat out started acting spoiled.
he snuggled right up to my Wolf paw.
My heart suddenly started pounding wildly. A strange feeling I'd never had before exploded from my chest. So now I have 2 daughters. I was shaken to my core. At first, it was mostly pity when we met, but now I felt a real sense of responsibility. I lowered my Wolf paw and burned the images of the two kids into my mind. From now on, I will always protect you. In the end, Ji Yingying couldn't hold it in anymore. You're shameless. It's one thing to act cute, but now you're being spoiled too. Ji Yingying kept going, acting cute, then replied in English. You don't get it, Ji Yingying. I call this gratitude. If I don't act a little spoiled, how could I be worthy of Dad Wolf giving me a lingyuan fruit? Hearing that, Ji Yingying couldn't help but twitch the corner of her mouth, but still managed to hold back her irritation. Activate my former life's ice spirit breathing technique. Devoted myself to absorbing the spiritual essence from the spirit fruit. Ji Yingying followed suit. Used the purple jade breathing technique to refine the spirit fruit. From my perspective, the two little ones seemed to fall asleep after eating their fill. After confirming the two little ones were fine, I shifted my focus to the various lingy mushrooms. Although there are many natural spirit fruits here, they mean nothing to me, so I immediately distributed the spirit fruits among the wolves. In an instant, the snow wolf beasts became noticeably stronger. After storing the remaining spirit fruits in the ice cellar, I walked over to my two daughters again. I laid down for a moment. Half an hour passed. The zero spirit fruit truly deserves its reputation as the awakening sacred fruit. It not only eliminated the hidden risks of his early awakened talent, but also helped Ji Yingying awaken a second talent. Ji Yingying opened her eyes as well. She's clearly still a baby girl, yet that slightly chubby baby face already shows a hint of her former empress dignity. Her lips remain still, but a cold, brisk voice rings in Ji Yingying's mind. Sure enough, you've awakened the second talent too. Ji Yingying nodded slightly. Although Ji Yingying and Ji Yingying weren't communicating in English now, they could still hear each other's voice, because both had awakened talents simultaneously. Time-space synchronization. Only time and space element users can master this ability. Its effect is to use time-space power to communicate mind to mind with others. Ji Yingying didn't need to speak loudly, but Ji Yingying understood one thing. Seems you've awakened your past life's talent too. Ethereal extinction. Ji Yingying's slightly rebellious voice also echoed in Ji Yingying's mind. Both girls revealed a look of relief in turn. Leveraging space power. Ji Yingying's total spiritual energy is nearly 3 times that of peers who awakened at the same level. Moreover, it can unleash the sharpest spatial slash in existence, or overlap multiple layers of stacked space to form the strongest shield in the world. Space barrier. In their previous lives, they were both teammates and worthy opponents who admired each other. Ji Yingying, as the Empress, I will make you understand how powerful ethereal extinction is. Not only will I win, but I'll show you that 16 cocoons are truly invincible. Both girls secretly made up their minds simultaneously, because their bodies are those of infants. Activating the time-space talent consumes their meager spiritual energy rapidly. In seconds, both fell into a weakened state. They looked at me at the same time. Hearing my daughters call out to me, I suddenly opened my eyes. A rumbling sound from their stomachs rang in my ears. But didn't those little ones just have milk? Wait a minute. How did those two just call out to me? I was stunned for a moment. Then both used time-space synchronization to speak in my mind, asking for milk. That's telepathy. I wasn't shocked, just pleasantly surprised. Didn't expect these two little ones to be able to speak after eating that fruit. Surprisingly, they could speak right after having a fruit. Too bad I could understand them, but couldn't communicate back. Still, I immediately summoned 2 female wolves. Now those 6 wolf pups are grown. They don't need to nurse anymore, so there's no need to worry about the milk supply. Watching my daughters drinking milk from the female wolves, I felt instantly uplifted. Soon, the snow wolf hunting team returned. They brought back prey. Several wolves carried the bodies of deer beasts in their jaws. 3 snow wolves herded more than a dozen female deer and fawns. I let out a prolonged howl. Renya came before me, bowed respectfully, body coordinated seamlessly. This is the prey we've hunted. I nodded lightly, then walked to the front of those bodies. Although the creature is dead, I can still feel the immense spiritual energy within the corpse.
Clearly.
This deer gained much fortune from the 2 spiritual energy surges. It harbors a terrifying amount of spiritual energy inside. The energy within is truly formidable. I immediately exercised my rights and duties as the Wolf King, bit down on the lean meat from the deer's spine, and swallowed it whole. The fresh meat from the moose's back was delicious and rich in spiritual energy. After just a few bites, I was pretty full. Host currently consuming Moose King blood and flesh. Level upgraded to 18. A fierce smile appeared on my Wolf maw. Then I stepped aside, so the remaining snow wolves could eat. As for me, I herded the female moose and fawns to the fenced corner of the Snow Wolf village. At that moment, Ji Yingying and Jiyu Kingen stared at the moose corpse on the ground. Kiki's jaw dropped in shock. Moose King. Just from the aura radiating from the carcass, you could sense it. This moose had evolved into an elite tier beast, and its level wasn't lower than 15. If Wolf Overlord had hunted this Moose King himself, that would make sense. But the hunting team brought it back instead. Yet what really stunned them was still to come. Wolf Dad had just arranged their future nannies, then walked to the moose's head. Jiyu Kingen and Ji Yingying knew. Moose King's antlers made great beast materials. Based on Wolf Dad's personality, sure enough, I swung my claws and sliced down both pairs of antlers, then handed them to Renya to store in the ice cellar, alongside the medicinal herbs previously found. The next second, my sharp claws cut open the Moose King's skull. A blood-soaked diamond-shaped crystal core floated out from inside the moose's brain, emitted a strange crimson glow. Beast crystal core. Damn, Wolf Overlord has such luck. The little one's pupils were full of shock. The chance for an elite beast to form a crystal core, though untested, is definitely not higher than 1%. The little ones were left dazed, then looked at the beast. Crystal core, all with longing eyes. If they could absorb this crystal core, after hesitating for a moment, both gave up. Their hearts wanted it, but their strength was lacking. The spiritual energy inside the beast crystal core is far more violent than that inside spirit fruits. A careless attempt could easily burst them. I gazed at the crystal core as well. Using it may awaken one of the following traits: mild strength enhancement, mild speed enhancement, mild jumping enhancement. After seeing the crystal core's effects, I frowned. This Moose King crystal core offers limited enhancement for me. Suddenly, I thought of something. A low wolf howl sounded. Renya rushed toward me. I looked at Renya and made up my mind. Loyalty among these snow wolves is nothing to worry about, so I'd rather award the crystal core to Renya. If Blade Fang gets stronger, he can replace me in hunting tasks more effectively. I possess the trait Plunder talent, so I don't lack traits at all. Of course, the stronger the Snow Wolf pack, the greater the bonuses I can get. For all these reasons, I threw the Deer King's crystal core in front of Renya. A slight twitch suddenly appeared on Renya's face. As a beast, his instincts told him clearly just how important that crystal core was to him. But his loyalty made it impossible to betray his king. Not even for the crystal core, or such a rare opportunity. But now the king actually bestowed it upon him. It wasn't just Renya. All the Wolf beasts in the Snow Wolf pack were stunned. That shock instantly turned into fanaticism. These snow wolves expressed their utmost respect and loyalty to their king. Reserfang swallowed the crystal core in an instant. In a flash, waves of spiritual energy rippled around his Wolf body. Ripples of spiritual energy instantly appeared. Ji Yingying and Jiyu Kingen widened their eyes at the same time. Wolf Dad actually rewarded the crystal core to another snow wolf. Ji Yingying's eyes were filled with nothing but confusion. Jiyu Kingen's eyes widened even more. Wolf Dad, aren't you supposed to be really smart? How could you give away such an opportunity to the other snow wolves? Wolf Dad, you are really generous. What's done is done, and it can be undone. Jiyu Kingen looked at Renya and couldn't help but sigh. Ji Yingying also spoke with much emotion. To think that the clever Wolf Dad could actually be so. When he looked at Wolf Dad, those eyes, like two-tone amber, remained calm from beginning to end. Could it be that Wolf Dad did it on purpose? At this moment, Razor Fang's transformation was complete. His body hadn't changed size, but his muscles had grown much bulkier all over. He seemed to have awakened a power-enhancing talent. Jiyu Kingen muttered to himself. Meanwhile, Ji Yingying had completely lost her composure, squatting down on her little butt and sitting right back in her swaddling clothes. Could it be that Wolfdad already knew that the crystal core could strengthen one's power? He didn't need it, so that's why he gave it to the Scarface Snowwolf. Ji Yingying's words left Jiu Qingyan utterly speechless. Just how many secrets does Wolfdad still have? I have to say, Renya is pretty lucky. He actually awakened the power-enhancing talent. Just when I was still marveling at it, a sudden howl sounded outside Snowwolf village. No, that's a wolf howl. I raised my wolf head and leapt up onto the city wall. Outside Snowwolf village, a pack of wolves with black, white, and gray mixed fur suddenly appeared. Not just me, but even the wolf beasts in the Snowwolf pack could smell the scent of unfamiliar wolves. But they weren't panicked at all. It was as if they had practiced in advance. Several female wolves instinctively went to protect the cubs, but then realized those 6 wolf pups had already grown up. Afterwards, the target the she-wolves guarded became Ji Yingying and Jiu Qingyan. They copied my actions, picked up the 2 little ones and carried them to the treehouse, then quickly returned to the wolf pack. I faced a wolf pack of nearly 100 wolves, without showing the slightest hint of panic, with the intimidating howl of the snow wolves. As I roared, those 100 wolves all stopped in their tracks, one after another. Suddenly, this crisis that seemed imminent was mostly averted, but I was still on high alert. Immediately, I ordered Razor Fang to take the 6 wolf pups to guard the back gate of Snowwolf village, just in case. The remaining wolves instantly assumed their roles. The rest of the snow wolves followed me and lay in front of the main gate of Snowwolf village. Inside the study, Ji Yingying and Jiu Qingyan were shocked. They had no idea what was happening outside. Through the treehouse and the main gate of Snowwolf village, they could just make out those beasts filling the hills as far as the eye could see. It seemed those were also a pack of wolves. Ji Yingying, sharp-eyed, recognized the pack of wolves. Jiu Qingyan immediately realized this was a territorial dispute between wolf packs. Who would have thought that, in the Tianshan forest, there would be such a terrifying wolf pack? Jiu Qingyan spoke in a tone full of shock. When Ji Yingying heard this, her eyelid couldn't help but twitch wildly. The beasts outside. There must be at least 180 of them. If a fight breaks out, what will happen to Wolfdad and the others? But Jiu Qingyan was thinking even deeper. I think what we should really consider is, what will happen to the 2 of us? If Wolfdad and the others can't hold them off, we're done for. I stood at the door with over a dozen snow wolves blocking the entrance. As for the walls around Snowwolf village, I'm still pretty confident in them. Just these small fry in front of me. This wooden long wall alone should be enough. Besides, those wolf beasts are already suppressed by my aura. Every single one of them is frozen in place, too scared to make a move. No matter how you look at it, this battle is really a no-brainer. For these wolves coveting my hunting grounds, there's no way I'll go easy on them. Howl at the moon skill activated. A single howl causes the Snow Wolf tribe's fighting power to soar. As for the invading wolf pack, they are terrified by the aura of my Snow Wolf King. This battle instantly turned into a one-sided massacre. Just a few breaths later, the ground was already littered with over a dozen wolf beast corpses. At that moment, 2 long, cold howls echoed from deep in the forest. A strange sense of intimidation swept in from afar, making Jiu Qingyan instantly clench her tiny fists in fright. That's the aura of a high-level elite beast. Oh my god, could that be the Wolf King of the pack? It looks even more powerful than Wolf Ba. Ji Yingying spoke with a heavy tone. Maybe it's already close to quasi-extraordinary level. This enemy isn't someone Wolfdad can handle at all. Jiu Qingyan let out a deep sigh and sat straight down in her swaddling clothes. We're doomed. I never thought that after being adopted by Wolfdad, I would still end up as wolf food. It's really not fair. Outside Snowwolf village, I called the Snow Wolf pack back. Don't be fooled by the blood covering them. It's actually all from the wolves they killed. But in Jiu Qingyan and Ji Yingying's eyes, the scene looked completely different. This was a brutal, bloody battle. Even though they've seen death before, Jiu Qingyan, known as the Demon Lord, even she felt shocked this time. Who could have imagined that in the end it would be a pack of wolves dying in battle to protect me? Before they could think too much, I suddenly walked out of Snowwolf village, vanishing from their sight. Ji Yingying and Ji Yu Qingyan felt a strange tightness in their hearts, as if they'd just lost something important. Come on, Wolf Ba. Both girls silently cheered Wolf Ba in their hearts. Even though in their eyes, Wolf Ba was doomed, they still hoped for a miracle. Outside Snowwolf village, a two-headed wolf suddenly appeared in my line of sight. This was the Wolf King of those beasts. It really was terrifying. Mutant twin-headed wolf, level 19. 3 talents and 3 skills. All of them at silver rank. Looking over its stats, I couldn't help but narrow my eyes. This guy is actually pretty tough. But the Snow Wolf pack is right behind me. And those 2 little ones as well. It's king versus king now. I won't allow myself to lose. Howl at the Moon skill activated once again. I issued a formal challenge to the twin-headed Wolf King. 2 roars answered my challenge. The next second, I turned into a flash of silver lightning, closing the distance in an instant. Then my wolf claws sprang out, boosted by razor-sharp talons. My claws cut with a piercing howl that echoed through the mountains. Silver moon claw flare broke through the gap in space, slashing straight for the twin-headed Wolf King. The twin-headed Wolf King slowly lifted its gaze, and in that instant, a terrifying evil intent flashed in those pitch-black beast eyes. I sensed danger, and instantly gave up attacking its vitals. Instead, I viciously swiped my claws to the left, ripping off a large piece of flesh from the white wolf's head. Enraged by the pain, the white wolf head howled in agony. Boxing! The wolf head's mouth glowed with icy energy, quickly forming an ice ball that shot toward me. I couldn't dodge in time, and was struck directly by the ice shot, knocking me back in front of Snow Wolf Village's gate. Ji Yingying and Ji Yu Qingyan couldn't hold it in anymore. As expected, Wolf Ba wasn't a match, but then, in the next second, my figure vanished from sight again. Wolf howls rang out from the wilderness, making both girls feel a sense of dread. Oh no, even with Wolf Ba this strong.
He's still getting beaten so badly.
Soon after, a sudden wolf howl echoed outside Snow Wolf Village, and both Ji Yingying and Ji Yu Qingyan felt uneasy. A terrifying thought flashed through their minds. Could Wolf Ba have really lost? Even at a time like this, Ji Yingying, I won't argue with you anymore. I remember you awakened the time-space talent too, right? Ji Yu Qingyan suddenly spoke up. Ji Yingying immediately caught on. After all, she was the Empress, so of course she knew. Synchronizing time-space not only allows for telepathy, but also has other uses, like awakened ones fighting together. Ji Yingying nodded in agreement right away, and the 2 little ones joined tiny hands, drawing on the little bit of spiritual energy inside them, forcing their time-space synchronization talent to activate. A wave of mental energy spread out, and then the 2 of them saw outside Snow Wolf Village, Wolf Ba standing tall and panting in the wilderness. And under his claws, there was a wolf corpse torn completely in half by sharp talons. Ji Yingying and Ji Yu Qingyan instantly understood what happened outside the wolf. Actually won. Although the scene was intense, to the 2 of them, the result was amazing. After taking out the twin-headed Wolf King, the rest of the wolf beasts were intimidated on the spot by my aura and my command. Blade Fang led the Snow Wolf tribe elites and started the slaughter. But they purposely spared some of the female wolves that belonged to the Snow Wolf tribe. This fight with the twin-headed Wolf King's pack made me realize the Snow Wolf tribe needs other methods to expand, like assimilating other Snow Wolf packs, of course to avoid any accidents. I only kept the easiest to control subordinates. You have slain the elite mutant twin-headed wolf. Level now up to 18. Dropped attribute. Physique enhancement, would you like to absorb it? I was instantly overjoyed. Among the 6 attributes of the twin-headed wolf, physique enhancement was the one I wanted most. After all, I'm not short on offensive skills right now. To survive in this world where spiritual energy is reviving, physical strength can't be neglected. Silently chanting in my heart. Suddenly, a strange energy surged in my body as the physique enhancement attribute was absorbed. My bones cracked audibly all over. My wounds healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. New silvery blue fur and muscles grew rapidly, and my body became even more robust and towering. At that moment, a system notification suddenly rang in my mind. Host awakened. Physique enhancement, speed enhancement, strength enhancement. Snow Wolf's aura advanced to special talent, Kang Wolf First Blood. Host's physique increased by 20%. Now able to release aura to suppress all monsters below extraordinary level. What a pleasant surprise. I couldn't help but open my eyes. The second golden entry. Before I could think any further, spiritual energy in the Tianshan forest surged toward me like crazy. The blood in my heart seemed to boil. And my aura, after absorbing the spiritual energy condensed above my head, suddenly grew stronger. In just a split second, I leveled up to 19. Ji Yingying and Ji Yu Qingyan felt the restless energy in the air. Both of them showed a confused look. What's happening now? Why does Langba's aura keep fluctuating? Soon, the two reached another consensus. Space-time synchronization activated again. They saw the scene outside. Langba was looking up with bright eyes. Countless auras were being drawn into his body. He evolved. Just a second ago, they barely defeated a major enemy. The next second, Langba evolved. Both were shocked. But soon after, they let out a long sigh of relief.
This way.
They no longer had to worry about being devoured by other beasts. The transformation finally ended. I slowly opened my tightly closed eyes. Then I immediately submerged my mind into my consciousness, checked my attribute panel. Only then did I notice. My species had somehow changed to Snow Wolf King, from the lineage of Kang Wolf. In other words, what I just experienced was actually a transformation in my bloodline. This instantly made me happy. The stronger my combat abilities, naturally the higher my chances of survival. Wu King Banya's voice snapped me out of my thoughts. The slaughter is over. Banya and several snow wolves escorted 5 female snow wolves. These female wolves had developed some intelligence. They immediately whimpered and bowed down to show their submission. My icy blue eyes swept over my sharp claws and split open the 2 heads of the dual-handed Wolf. Unfortunately, luck ended there. No sign of a monster crystal core was found. Then I led the Snow Wolf pack back to Snow Wolf Village. From now on, Ji Yingying and Ji Yu Qingyan gained 5 new healers, and my plan to expand the Snow Wolf clan was finally officially launched. That night I stood guard inside the treehouse. Outside the treehouse, wolves like Renya received my orders. Wolf howls echoed all night. The next morning when I stepped out of the treehouse, Renya and other male wolves had completed their sacred task and began the hunt. Time flew by. Ji Yingying and Ji Yu Qingyan were each absorbing the spiritual energy in the air. The days of spiritual revival are approaching, probably in the next couple of days. Ji Yingying suddenly sighed. Her expression gradually became more serious. Ji Yu Qingyan, on the other hand, was far more carefree. Why sigh? After the spiritual energy fully revives, you and I can use the breathing techniques from our past lives to cultivate and attempt to use our innate abilities. Our situation will be much safer than it is now. Ji Yingying just silently shook her head at that. She was still more worried deep down. At this moment, Langba's strength is still considered top tier in the Tianshan forest. But once the spiritual energy fully revives, throughout the world, many may evolve to extraordinary levels within a month, or even reach king level status. By then, all this current peace will disappear,